Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are continuing on with Concealer Week, and today we're going to be talking about the YSL All Hours Concealer. So I have it in the shade 2 Ivory, and if you'd like to see me apply this, do a full day wear test with a check-in, then just keep on watching. All right, let's get all the particulars out of the way. It is 8:30 in the morning. I am 44 going on 45. I have a dry under eye area. I suffer from like a sallow discoloration all around my eyes. I don't necessarily have like dark circles under my eyes. I have a little bit of puffiness. I definitely have some fine lines, some not so fine lines down there. So those are my under eye concerns. And when I do these concealer reviews, I put like a regular foundation down. I don't use any primer, but I like to try and use a foundation that has like a light to medium coverage so that we can really see what the concealer is doing versus the foundation. And then what I like to do is powder one eye and not powder the other so we can see how the concealer acts under both circumstances. If I see that the concealer like starts to crease very quickly, I'll just go ahead and powder both eyes. So I haven't even taken it out of the box. I purchased this, I believe, off of Nordstrom. Here's what the tube looks like. It has like a little peekaboo window here to show you your color. Nice gold cap here with the YSL logo on the front. I'm assuming it has a doe foot applicator, but you never know. Yep, typical doe foot applicator. Let me go ahead and swatch the shade so you can see. Oh, it's very thin consistency. Interesting. So there is the All Hours. I think that'll work for me. It has a little bit more of a peachy tone to it. So it would, if you have like the bluish purple dark circles on your eyes, it would probably do a pretty decent job correcting that. So I have a little bit of a blemish here, and it's not really a typical blemish. I think it's like a little bit of my eczema popping up. Total sidebar here. I generally follow like a paleo diet. It just makes me feel the most healthy and the most energetic. Anyway, whenever I break it like hardcore, which I did the other night, I usually get some sort of eczema situation. So that's my penance for breaking paleo. But anyway, this will be a good concealer test since I have that little nub in there. Because this concealer seems to have a very thin texture, I'm going to try applying it to my right eye first and using just my fingers to blend in. So I'm going to wipe off any excess. I really don't like too much concealer because that's when it really starts to look cakey and ages your under eyes. So I'm just going to start there. That seems to be plenty. And I'm just going to tap it in all around my eyes. Let's see how it does covering up that redness. Oh, not bad. That was quick blending for sure. And this, out of all the ones that I've tried so far, definitely has the thinnest texture. But that's not to say that it doesn't have some decent coverage, because I think it has some pretty decent coverage. So here it is with and without. So there's a comparison for you. I think it camouflages nicely. I think it's a nice consistency. I think it blended in really nicely. I think this shade actually works for me, but I don't think it's doing much for the fine lines that I have under my eyes. It's not doing any sort of blurring. It's not doing any sort of camouflaging in that respect. I don't necessarily think so far that it's emphasizing them. I don't think it's making them look worse, which a lot of concealers can do. So far, not too bad. All right, and let me go ahead and apply it to this eye. I'm going to use my sponge because I have it out. And this is a thin consistency. I wonder if the sponge will soak up too much. Maybe I should use a brush. Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm going to use a brush because I think because of this consistency, the sponge will pick up a little bit too much. So I'm going to use my Zoeva Face Shape brush. This is the number 110. So I'm just going to pounce this over the concealer. I almost said foundation. Pounce this over the concealer. All right, so there it is applied to both eyes. Again, I think it does a nice job concealing. I feel like my skin tone over my eye area looks very, very even. I'm just gonna feel the area around my right eye now that this has been on a little bit longer. It feels very, very tacky. I feel like I'm gonna have to set this down. I think I like the side that I used the brush just a little bit more. It looks a little bit even. It looks a little bit more diffused, where the finger one, maybe because the consistency is so thin that, I don't know, maybe just like kind of spreading it around like that just wasn't that great of an idea. I think I'm being super nitpicky though. I think if you were to look at me, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but just ever so slightly. I think I like this application a little bit better. I am seeing it start to crease on that like one tiny little, like barely a fold here on my eyelid. I'm starting to see it kind of like gather there. So I think I'm gonna have to just set both eyes down. There is no fragrance whatsoever, which is good. And I'm just taking a quick look at the ingredients because I know there was all this like hoopla around the YSL All Hours foundation about there being like alcohol in the ingredients. I don't see alcohol on here. And then just to read the description on the back of the box, it says flawless blendable coverage to hide dark circles and imperfections, 16-hour wear and comfort. 16 hours? What is that, from like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.? That's terrible. 16-hour wear and comfort. No creasing or caking. Mine is creasing ever so slightly. I don't think it's caking. Velvet matte finish. That I will agree with. Transfer resistant and sweat resistant. Suitable for all skin tones, including sensitive skin. Well, that's good. I do have sensitive skin, and sweat resistant is very exciting because randomly it has been very humid here in Vegas. My body does not know what to do. I went and I walked my dog this morning. It was very humid. And I didn't sweat for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it was like the floodgates opened and I can't stop sweating. In fact, I think I am still sweating. So anyway, so sweat resistant is exciting to me today. So let me grab some powder and we'll set down this concealer. So I thought it was only appropriate to grab the YSL powder. This is the Soufflé d'Eclat and I have it in the shade 02. I grabbed my Chikuhodo cheek brush. I like this for setting my eye area down. Just picked up a teensy bit on the brush and I'll place that right on my eye here. All right, so there it is on this eye and no powder on this eye still. I think I definitely like the way the concealer looks now with the powder on it. I think it looks a little bit more flawless. And let me go ahead and set my other eye here. I'm just pouncing my damp sponge over the powder area. It just looks a little powdery. All right, so there is powder on both of my eyes over the concealer. So far, so good. No complaints. I'm not completely blown away by it so far, but I think it's very acceptable. So I'm gonna go about my day. I'll put on some more makeup and I'll be back. It's about 8:30 now, so I'll be back at around 1 o'clock to do my first check-in, and I'll see you then. Hey guys, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon, so I thought I would do a check-in, and generally I like to keep the eye makeup light so that we can take like a really good look at the concealer, but I'm pre-filming and I had to film something else today, so anyway, we've got some eye makeup on, but I think there's enough area under my eyes there to see how the concealer's doing, so let's take a close look. Immediately, I feel like on this side you can see it's sort of emphasizing my lines a little bit, so I'm gonna zoom in here and hopefully you guys will be able to see it, but sometimes it's hard to see through the camera. And then on this side, I see like, I don't know if it's texture or if it's the concealer kind of breaking up. Like it's not emphasizing texture on my skin. The concealer itself is forming texture, so it's looking a little weird over here. So this side I used my finger to blend in, and this side I used the brush to blend in. So I don't know if that made a difference. So if I had to pick, I do like this eye better, even though I feel like some of my lines are being emphasized. The texture here just looks really just funky and just looks kind of weird over here. And I think, strangely enough, I liked this eye better upon first application. So my opinion has shifted, but so far this is just a meh kind of concealer. I think I felt that way when I first put it on. I think I mentioned that. You know, and so far it's only been 5 hours. It's claiming to have like a 16-hour wear. The name of the concealer is All Hours, so you would expect a little bit more of like a consistent look all throughout the day. Now, out of all the concealers that I've tested so far, I think this one is the worst. And I think I mentioned in a few of my other concealer reviews, I felt like I was having a really, really good string of concealers. Like I was just testing them and they were all looking really, really good. So I think I kind of jinxed myself. This one is not that great so far. But I will be back at the end of the day to give you a final check-in and to give you my final thoughts on this concealer, and I will see you then. Hey guys, it's 5:30 in the afternoon, so I'm here to do my final check-in and to give you my final thoughts on this YSL All Hours Concealer. And I just was taking a close look in the mirror and it's still looking really funky over here. Not that I thought it was gonna like self-correct in any way, but yeah, it just doesn't look good. I hope the camera can pick it up, but I'm gonna zoom in here. It just looks textured and dry underneath this eye. And then this eye, I feel like is just sort of emphasizing my fine lines, as is this eye also. I feel like the texture is a bigger problem though. And I don't know if it's necessarily gotten worse since my first check-in, and that was like 4 hours ago, but it definitely isn't any better. So I want to say this concealer is kind of average for me. I don't think it's the worst concealer I've ever used. And if you guys watched my top 5 Tuesdays of worst products, you know that I had at least a couple concealers in there. It's not nearly as bad on my skin as those concealers and even some other ones that I've tried. But in comparison to the other concealers that I've been trying this past week, this one so far is my least favorite. So those are my final thoughts on the All Hours concealer. Let me know if you guys have been using this concealer, what your thoughts are. I would love to know what your experience is with this concealer if you have been using it. So definitely leave me some notes down in the comment section if you have and if you like it. Maybe you have some application tips. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.